Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. And at the end of fall, I still had some plants that I had not planted. I also have some container blueberries in really large pots that I want to keep in containers so I can put them on the patio. And what do you do with these plants in the wintertime? These plants have root systems that are not hardy to very cold temperatures. The roots of plants get down to freezing and stay frozen in the soil, but they're not exposed to the negative 20s and whatever the polar vortexes and stuff are going to bring. So what you do is you try to protect the root system. You can actually bury the pots, plant the pots in the ground and then unplant them in the spring. And that's a lot of work. And I didn't want to have to do all that. And I didn't want to plant the plants because I didn't know exactly where I was going to put them. And I didn't have the time to put them in. So what do? I stored the plants outside. The tops of these plants need the cold spell for the dormancy so that they can grow in the spring. If you keep them in a warm garage, you can protect the roots, but you're not putting the plant into a cold dormancy. So they have to be in a cold garage, and there might be some times when the roots would get damaged. So what I've done for this group is I put a little temporary wall here of some boards on these little metal posts, and then put the plants in that space, filled the space with leaves that I was vacuuming up off my landscape. Using the leaf vac, it shreds the leaves, and so I was able to fill the space between the pots and over the top of the pots with shredded leaves. So it's a very good insulation. Then, as we've had some snows, we were going to be predicted to have negative 25-degree temperatures at night from the polar vortex. So I took extra snow and piled on top and around and between the fence and the little storage area here. So I completely covered it in snow. Snow is a very good insulator. We have the snow insulating and the leaves insulating, and we'll find out in the spring how well we've done. One of the things we'll look for in the spring is to see if the tops have survived versus the root system. The branches here that are sticking out are blueberries, roses, and an apple tree, and those should be capable of surviving in those cold temperatures. But if they're not, and those branches died above the snow, we'll do some pruning. Now this is now spring, and I can't leave them in here too long. They haven't started growing yet. The buds are just starting to maybe expand a little bit. So I want to take them out right now because I don't want the new growth on the areas of the stem below the leaves to become etiolated, which means that they're growing without light, and so they're getting long and skinny and white. They're not growing properly, and I don't want them all broken off when I pull them out. So I want to take them out before they start doing that. Now there are still some frost possibilities, so I will still have to protect the root systems some, but not nearly as much as if I had a really bitter cold freeze for weeks at a time. This will be the kind of frost we would get overnight, which means I can take them in the garage and protect them for 1 or 2 days and not have to keep them for a long period of time, not do a lot of extra work. So it's time to remove these boards and remove this insulation and get going on these. It doesn't take too much to tear something in this apart. Now what I'll also do then with all these extra leaves is I will put these into the compost pile and spread them into some of my perennial beds. You can see how easy this project was to put together. It was just, the boards were just set in place so that all I have to do now is just pull it all apart, take these piles of leaves out. One other protection that I gave these plants during the winter is a lot of them I've used wire mesh around the trunks so that if mice or voles or other rodents got inside this area, that they wouldn't be able to get to the tree trunks themselves and do any damage on the trunks. And that's all there is to overwintering some large plants that you don't have time to plant in the fall, or in my case, that as well as my blueberries, I'm going to leave them in pots and leave them winter after winter. And so this is the second year for the blueberries, and they've done really well. Their stems are completely healthy looking. There's no shriveled, shrunken areas or any kind of frost damage appearing on the blueberries. And this has been a Greener View. Thanks for watching.